Hello everyone, so making another video about Islam today because Islam is a horrible ideology and it's currently wreaking havoc on Europe. And the more that we talk about Islam and how terrible it is, the better chance we have of actually wiping it out. Because I gotta tell you, Islam's just completely fucking awful. Now, I was watching another YouTuber, well, big YouTuber, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer, and he brought up a really good point. From a Western perspective, we don't really understand what a religion looks like in a place like over in the Middle East where they're extremely poor and they work constantly, and literally going to the mosque is their only reprieve from their daily toils. There's no vacation time, there's no luxury time and stuff like that. It may be in like some urban areas, there might be more of that, but they're also less religious in those areas from what I understand as well. And his whole point was that you just don't understand the culture. You don't come from that type of life. You don't live off of $2,500 a year. You know, the average middle class family in the United States, I would take a guess that probably makes somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a year, depending on where you fall in either lower or upper middle class, you know, family. And that's reasonable to have a life, you know, $50,000 a year for maybe a couple people or a person or 3 people or something, you know, a small middle class family just starting out. That's reasonable to even go take vacations and have the weekends off and relax, you know. They don't have that in the Middle East. They work constantly because they're poor and they have to work to survive. And so we Westerners who've never had to have that sort of experience where we constantly have to go. It's all about survival. You haven't had to experience that. So when we think of God, we think of God from the perspective that, oh yeah, we have all this wealth, we have all this technology. Like, I'm talking to a computer and the computer is going to record what I'm saying so that I can transmit this message to other people. And I do this quite regularly and easily. Like, that would be like magic, almost. I mean, I'm not saying that they're that ignorant over there by any means. No, not saying that. They probably understand modern technology if they have experience with it. But in comparison, we're very, very wealthy. Very, very wealthy. And the people on this side who they support or they defend Islam, they don't understand how important the religion is to somebody who doesn't have anything at all. We have so much material wealth here. You know, you can be very, very involved in the material world and all this thing. And, you know, we have a lot of freedoms. We have a lot of choice. You know, the average, you know, teen girl goes to the mall and can walk around and look at all the pretty things. And she can buy just about anything she wants. And, you know, take the bus or call an Uber now, you know, stuff like that. There's so much freedom, there's so much opportunity, there's so much choice, and part of it is because we're consumer society, and we're also very, 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 very wealthy. We're extremely wealthy. The you know, poorest person in our country would be extremely wealthy in other countries, you know, so there's that. I'm not saying every poor person, because I'm sure there's some people who just literally have nothing. United States. But even those people can get enough money to live off of from like begging and stuff. But not saying that there isn't a homeless problem in the United States, because there definitely is right now. Our economy is going to kind of shit. But in general, we are an extremely wealthy country. And so these Western girls or guys or whatever, the SJWs and the so-ons and the so forths, who've never had to experience that type of life, have no idea what it means to actually be hopeless. Just completely hopeless, because you have nothing but your work. You might have family, but you're working constantly, so you don't really get to spend time with them. It's a different type of life, you know, and you guys, it makes the need for the spiritual realm so much more important, because it's, and as Styx Hexenhammer pointed out, for some of these people, the only reprieve from work is to go to the mosque, is to worship, and so on and so forth. It's makes it feel like it is salvation, even though it's an extremely violent ideology. And so because it's, you know, like a reprieve from the suffering of their work and their life and their need to survive and stuff like that, because it is a reprieve, they think it's the truth. They think it is salvation, because that's what a religion is supposed to do. It's supposed to save. And if you get to stop working for a while and, you know, go into town and experience just a break or a moment to just do nothing, to stop the struggle for just a second, to focus on something else, to read the Quran, to listen to the mullah, to maybe get out of the sun because the mosques, you know, are domed and stuff. It does feel like salvation, so of course they think it's the truth, because it feels like salvation from at least some of their suffering, and they don't have the experience of all the material wealth in the world like we have here to counterbalance that. They just think it's the truth and they go with it. And they don't know any different, you know? That's their life. That's it. That's what they're told when they're young. Believe in Allah. When you get to heaven, things will be good. But never quite sure if you're going to get to heaven. So, in order to get heaven, you need to kill yourself, essentially, and take some infidels with you. It's the only sure way that you'll get to heaven. And you think to yourself, well, who the fuck would do that? I mean, you know, who the hell wants to kill themselves? Okay, well, you obviously don't understand that suffering. There is a certain type of suffering in the world which makes people very, very susceptible to that type of message. You know, the jihadis, if they're captured before they're able to implement their scheme, you ask them about what their motives are. They're very honest, and they'll say, there's 72 virgins waiting for me in heaven. Why won't you let me kill myself? I want to get to the virgins. And it's because they don't have any hope here on this in this life. They don't understand the wealth and or they hate it. First of all, they hate the Western world because that's what their mullahs teach them, right? So they have an inane hatred because that's what they've been told their entire lives. That anybody who's not a Muslim in general, and we're very sinful over here according to Sharia law. So that's why they come over here. It's not to experience the material wealth and get out of the thumb of being overly superstitious and religious. It's to actively try to kill us. Because at this point, it's like coming into the Western world and actively taking part of it is not an option for them at that point. They were raised in a poor area. They became radicalized there because religion's really, really important to these people. They think there's going to be this great reward, and there's going to be no more suffering, and they're going to have 72 virgins to do whatever with. And it's that hope that they cling to, you know? And so they come over here and they hate us. They hate us because their religion, which was really, really important when they lived in a place that was really, really poor. And they hate us. They hate us for the sinful nature according to their religion. So they can't act like us. They can't take part in our society like us because they can't be sinful like us because their religion is too important to them. So they come over here and they kill us. And in that way, they think they're going to get to heaven. They think they're submitting to Allah and that in the end, they're going to get their 72 virgins, they're going to be rewarded, and their suffering is going to end. They're going to take a lot of people out with them. So for those of you out there who look at Islam from your Western perspective, and you look at the Quran and you look at all the violent verses and you go, no, it's symbolic, it's symbolic. No, it's not. That's not the way that it's taken. You know, those violent Muslims, the ones that you claim aren't real Muslims, who don't take the Quran symbolically, but literally, those Muslims would tell you that your interpretation of Islam that says all of those violent passages were only for Muhammad's time, or that they're symbolic or something like that. Those Muslims would say that you were fucking dead wrong and they would kill you. I think I'm going to end on that note. You guys have a great day.